Shalom, shalom. Hopefully, I'm heard out there. Hopefully, y'all can hear me just fine. Let's see. Yep. All right. Let's see. I'm using this new platform for live streaming. So this one right here is not pre-recorded. We're gonna need some ones in the chat if y'all can hear me just fine. Because I don't know. I can't see anything so far. Let's see what we got. All right. Boom. Boom. All right. I know I'm popping in here pretty late. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can check a couple things out, but hopefully y'all are doing okay tonight. I just wanted to pop in real quick and just get a little something rocking and rolling. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm doing a StreamYard on a Sunday. So how I'm looking at doing it is, of course, I got the ones where I pre-record everything. And then here I'm using StreamYard. I've seen that it was doing pretty well for others. So I was like, let me give it a shot, see how it work out, y'all. And see if it's like something that really flows well. But also it gives an opportunity just to come on here and actually have a better look at the chat. You know what I mean? Because the other platform that I use is called Stream Labs. And the chat, you can't really see it that well. So but on this one, you can see it pretty well. Either way, let's go ahead and get to this thing. Listen, we got quite a few things we're gonna have to unpack with this, but it's just based on the things that's being observed, right? And that's already been proven to be honestly facts. What's really a surprise to me so far, right? When I look at a lot of different things that's going on uh within Israel are abroad, when people are having a hard time with certain things. I'm noticing a pattern, right? I'm noticing a pattern of things that's taking place as to where once you get into a particular ministry, or if you get yourself involved into one, that there's a process of love bombing, right? You get the love bombing going on, and some people are very genuine about it, but then you have others who have their underlying motives, right? They have their own really goal as to what they want to accomplish with you. So that's the biggest thing, is like identifying those things. So when and what I'm gonna start with here first is me personally. I drafted a petition, and it's just nothing but honestly, it's really notes. It's really notes. One thing that I'm pretty good at, I really learned how to do. Most High definitely taught me how to do a few things, a lot of things. But one of them is drafting petitions, being able to um outline a petition and submit it in for, I guess, for if you want to open up a court case, if you need to do a civil action, things like that. But I drafted the petition in regards to um the charge that was levied. And I believe that it's okay to bring up an issue, right? Like, we can talk about the situation with Pastor Dow and how he truly is the one who was operating a presumptuous spirit. And he truly was the one who went out of the order of the Most High Yah, and, took his brother and sacrificed his brother, just for the simple fact that he, was gaining influence, gaining money, gaining more notoriety, things like that. You know what I mean? So we can easily just say that, right? And we can beat that horse all day. But like, what's the redemption? What's the process? What's the real breakdown as to what we're looking at? When we're looking at this whole situation, what is actually some of the points that we really need to know? What do we need to hit? Like, It's not just presumptuousness that's in play here. There's multiple different things that are happening now, and hence why you see people who are leaving and fleeing the land, taking off. You know what I'm saying? And just leaving. Um, what's the process and protocols? Now, one of the biggest things that I really want to go over is, before I get into the presumptuous accusations and the levying charges, right? Is the way that things are set up for straightway, right? I believe that they function off of foundations, right? So now, I believe Kabir has them set up to where they're using foundations for everything. So everything's a foundation, which is a charitable organization. It's it's a company. So if you want to try to evade, or not evade, but avoid taxation, that's one way you can do it, but it's like that without taking a 501(c)(3), right? But at the same time, a foundation is actually just a public entity. Now, foundations are heavily scrutinized by government entities. They look at them heavy, right? So you can be able to be operating through a foundation, but when it comes down to it, the government wants to know everything you're doing. Like, they want to know ins and outs. What are you purchasing? What are the assets? Where's all these things, right? Not only do they want to know that, but they also want to know, like, when's it formed, how long has it been formed, who are the founders of the foundation. They want to know everything, all your business in the foundation. I don't care if it's public or private, yo. They want to know everything. And us as being believers and followers of Yeshua, our covenant is with the Most High. It's not with the intergovernmental system, but a foundation is heavily ruled by an intergovernmental system, that you have things that you have to follow when it comes down to it. Not only that, in a foundation, whoever's a part of this foundation, the founders are the people who may benefit from it. Not really, though, but the founders might. But it's like they mostly have to do things in charitable organizations, so they have to give it to charity if it's anything extra. They have to do certain things, and it has to be by the book. You know what I'm saying? It has to be by the book. It has to be that when they're doing it, they have to go by the book of it. And it's not, nobody's reaping, like, you're passing it down to another generation. There's no process that's like that, which we know all throughout the scriptures. That's just kind of how they rolled, right? You got the inheritance. You know what I mean? You always were entitled to some sort of inheritance. So that's one of the biggest things, is that the inheritance is a foundation strips that from it. And so when I look at a foundation, I look at it and I say, well, is this really something that the Most High will want for people to be doing, like believers, like Hebrews? Like, should we be doing this? Should we be having foundations and charitable organizations formed to gain assets, right? And I began to put together a few notes. I began to put together a few things. And my thing is that a foundation seems to be too tied in and too heavily related to the intergovernmental system, y'all. It's too much of them inner working. Even when it comes to third party litigations, they have a lot of say in what's going on in the third party litigations. So with that being said, why would a so-called Hebrew faith or structure, or whatever they are, church or congregation called Straightway, why would they want to do a foundation? Just to avoid a bit of taxation? That's it? You just want to avoid a little bit of taxation, but you're giving up a lot of liberties, even in the private, to even avoiding that. Like, and then not only that, the people who are slaving and working on those lands, right? They don't even have an opportunity for an inheritance. They don't have a chance for it. There's no chance to even pass anything down or have their name in the foundation, to where it's designed to, once their offspring is going to benefit from this foundation. A foundation is locked in, so it's just a corporation and it's perpetual and it's just based on sole entities, right? So it's just based on them making charitable donations. And that's about it. Charitable donations, educational ventures, right? If they want to invest in the educational system and all that. And I'm just thinking about it like that's a lot of control. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of control that the intergovernmental system has over that foundation, over that entity. One of the biggest things that I really studied really well on is trust. And trust has really helped me out a lot. Like when I was wrongfully incarcerated, trust is one of the things that I used to be able to help me get out of the situation, right? Because in dealing with intergovernmental systems, one thing that they cannot do is deal in trust. They cannot deal with people who are dealing with trust. And a trust is just a private entity that you form, and it's just between you and your board of trustees. So your board of trustees, and then you have a board of beneficiaries. Let's say you have a few trustees, and they're all a part of this trust. Well, now we can be able to put our assets in this trust, and then our beneficiaries are the children who are going to reap all the benefits. So if we got the land, like how they got the land in Straightway, everybody who decides they want to put hands to the plow on the land gets added to the trust, and then their children get added as beneficiaries of the trust. So now they have an opportunity to have an inheritance based on percentage, based on however you draw it up, which it seems to be a lot more biblical. Not only that, intergovernmental systems, they can't touch it, y'all. So it's like, why would we choose to do something that's not going to be supporting our beliefs at the end of the day? Like, why are we choosing something that's going to really infringe on our beliefs? Like, intergovernmental system is going to come in and be able to do what they want to do as a third party litigator, right? They're going to be able to touch it. They're going to be able to say, hey, you can't do this, can't do that. But inside of a trust, they can't do anything. It's like whatever's outlined with the trust is what happens. Whatever you have on contract, whatever you have outlined. So if your family is within the trust and you have stipulations for the trust that the beneficiaries has to perform a certain way, they have to stay and walk righteously. They have to keep on the straight and narrow path, right? They have to follow Torah in order to be able to reap their inheritance. Sort of like, of course, Jacob and you got Esau, where, of course, Jacob or Jacob took the birthright from Esau. You know what I mean? But that's one of the things that they had, those birthrights. You know what I mean? So you can lose your birthright if you don't follow the Torah, you don't keep the law, you don't do certain things. But once you're in these commitments with each other as Hebrews, as a family, it's more trust involved, right? And that's why it's called trust. It's more trust involved because you can lose your inheritance if you're operating out of a certain spirit. So we got this situation with Pastor Dow, right? And he's operating out of presumptuous spirit. I mean, he's taking matters in his own hands, and he's overriding the scriptures, and he's coming down with his own judgments. And a trust, if it's stipulated in the outline that is something that cannot be done, and if it is done, you can lose all of your inheritance, then guess what? Boom, you'd have to follow that within the trust. And not only that, that can be taken if you have to take it to an actual court, right? It would hold true, reign true, hopefully not, right? Because we have to take but the just before the unjust if they're acting unjustly. So they said that correctly. But it gives you a little bit more flexibility. You know what I'm saying? A foundation is extremely tight, and you can't flex anything, and your offsprings cannot reach an inheritance. So I feel really bad for a lot of those people who have engaged into these foundations that's going on with Straightway, because really at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to reap much inheritance for their family. Like, if they were to pass away right now, they won't have anything. It'll all belong to the foundation, which that's ridiculous because that's a public entity. That's a corporate entity. Whereas to where a trust is private. There is no there. You can keep it very private, which means it's between you and the individuals, the trustees, and the beneficiaries within the trust. Or you can make it to where you got one trust that's public and one of them that's extremely private. The only people that ever would know anything about your trust is the Department of Treasury and the IRS, and that is it. Nobody else would know. Absolutely not. And then of course that covenant is made with the Most High. The Most High Yah is the structure of their trust. So the law, the Torah, all of that is extremely structured within your trust to where, if anything were to be transgressed, you'll miss out on that. So that's one of the biggest things that I noticed, right? Because they say they're dealing foundations, but what I came up with was a few different things that was like, man, hold on. Did some research and studying, of course, comparing it to trust and foundation. Foundation is just a legal entity with, you have to do charitable events. You have to do is based on supporting with educational events. Uh, you know, all of that. So, social cases, but a trust is more of benefits. It's more of gaining assets, asset protection, asset management, estate planning. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be passing your wealth down from generation to generation, and that's what that trust is for. Yeah, they are being hustled. They being hustled big time. You know what I'm saying? They being hustled, yo. Because like they're on there, they're doing these foundations and they're setting anything up in foundations, and they're honestly they're getting ripped off. They're working so hard on these lands, and I believe that could be a real solution to a problem for a lot of these people that's on land right now. When you come together and get land, that could be a huge solution for a lot of people. Yeah, what do they do outside the ministry that's charitable? Nothing. There's nothing that they do. I mean, who do they donate to? Who are you donating your funds to? Like, this is what a foundation is for. It's a non for profit, right? And it's set up for charitable events. Who are you donating to? If not the poor, right? The ones who got the gospel preached to them. If you're not donating to them, who are you donating to? Who you giving your cash to? You donating to each other? Like, how is this working for you? You get what I'm saying? And it's like, you put your assets in that foundation. Well, what if the third party litigations destroy your foundation? What if they come through and they start wrecking shop because can't nobody agree on anything within the foundation? And then like the foundation, the founding members, maybe they fall out. What then? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I believe when it comes to these foundations and setting these people up in foundations and their lands and all of that, right? It's just an easier way to control you because you don't have any control or ownership of nothing, y'all. Nothing at all. Nothing. You don't have control or ownership over nothing. Hey, yo, you ain't lying, bro. Like, yes, wrap your mind around grown married men who, yeah, yes, giving the checks up. I mean, and even then in Sirach 33, I'm reading up about that right now. Brother introduced me to Sirach 33, reminded me about it. Brother, I believe I was talking to Brother Lamar, something like that. And it was speaking about not giving all of your goods, all of your goods to somebody, not giving all your goods away. And that's one thing for sure that people really need to start to be aware of. Like, even if you are looking to do community, which I'm not saying that that's like totally bad, right? Like, don't do that. Even if you're looking to do it, you should be looking to set yourself up in a trust. You should be looking to set yourself up to where you're on the board of trustees, and it's set up in such a way that you have an irrevocable trust where you're a trustee there and you have your children, your offspring as beneficiaries within the trust. The assets of the trust belong to the beneficiaries, y'all. So when you're in there, that your child's going to get an inheritance based on them being a part of the trust. And then you're going to be working towards building this land up, building whatever wealth up for your future generations, for them, you know what I'm saying, as well as for yourself currently right now. Now, so own nothing but control everything. That right there is a phrase that's being used amongst a lot of the elites. You got to know when it comes down to that. You just got to understand how Satan operates, y'all. You just got to know how Satan works. You got to know how he operates. You know, just like Aleister Crowley said, "Do as I will" should be the whole of the law. And you know, you got to understand when you do have the righteous way of doing things, and then you have a way as to where it's not so righteous. You got a way as to where you can have people trapped in a loophole, and then you got another way of doing it that where it'll be governed by the Most High, and there's no government systems that can speak on it or that can interfere with it. A foundation can be interfered with, no problem, but a trust, they cannot interfere with a trust, and they tend to stay away from you if you are a part of a trust, or if you're in within a trust and you have a board of trustees. They tend to leave you alone. They tend to not want to deal with people who are tied up in trust. You know what I'm saying? So and the reason why is because the power or the potential of a lawsuit. You got to know, like, you know, people who intergovernmental system, they don't like to be sued. They don't like to be sued, and the potential of being sued is something that they're really afraid of. So if they see that you're in the trust and you have a board of trustees and beneficiaries, things like that, and it's set up properly, they tend to not mess with you. They tend to leave you alone, walk away immediately. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not against community. You shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great way to do it, but it depends on how you do it. You get what I'm saying? Depends on how you do it. If you're doing it to where you can take full advantage of people, then that's not a good way to do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, you should do it to where it's set up to where it's fair, where people can be able to have just as equal opportunities as you. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to make sure that people are got what everything they need, as well as an inheritance, as we seeing that that's an epidemic right now with straightway. I mean, how are these people going to have an inheritance for their children if it's all tied up in a foundation, which is a corporation? Only thing they can do is do a charitable event and then donate to a charity. You know what I'm saying? And that's all they can really do. Whereas to where you set up in the trust, boom, you got everything set up for you. You grand tour of the trust, everything. But I'm gonna quickly go over a couple things with that real quick. Here, I'm gonna share y'all my screen. But this is what this is for. This is just so we can be able to talk. You know what I mean? Because I do a lot of pre-recorded videos, and this is so we can have dialogue, so we can talk, so we can chat. You know what I'm saying? And I can really interact with you guys in the chat. Let's see. Okay, first I'm gonna go ahead and do. Let me see. Is it this one? I think so. There we go. All right, so here we go. All right, so we got the purposes, right? And I had it outlined right here, you know. So a trust and a foundation, both of them are legal entities, right? So they're both entities used just to manage assets, right? But there's a huge differences between the two. And you know, I'm just presenting a solution to a problem. You know, I don't want to bring up a problem and not have a solution, right? Solution to the problem of foundation, right? So now, purpose, a trust. A trust is primarily a private agreement where one party, right, the settler or the grantor, can transfer assets to another party, the trustee, right? So the grantor is going to be your estate. Like me personally, my estate name is Ryan McClain, right? So my estate, that's me, the grantor of my estate. Whatever assets I acquire, I can convey those assets into my trust. I can take those assets, whether it be land, whether it be an automobile that's out making you money, whether it be a home that you got paid off. I'm taking these assets, I'm taking the deeds, and I'm conveying it into the trust that I'm the trustee of. You know what I'm saying? And then so that way it's protected. And the way it's protected is a lot of times you can do a lot of tax. You can avoid a lot of different taxes when you put your home into a trust, when you put other things into a trust, you can avoid a lot of taxation, right? A lot of things can be a tax deduction. A lot of things they won't even be able to touch it because it's protected by trust, right? And then that's pretty much how it goes. When you convey it over to a trust, it's a level of protection. That's why it's called asset protection, right? It protects your assets, right? So trusts are often used for estate planning, right? And your estate is your social security number, your name, right? That's your estate. It's for estate planning, asset protection, and passing wealth, right? From generation to generation. That's exactly what we know. That's the book. You know what I mean? Like we're functioning based on inheritance and passing one thing down to the next generation. Hopefully you guys can see my screen pretty well. That's what we function on. This is what we function on. We function on generational wealth building. We function on passing one thing down to the next generation. And a trust does that for you. Now, a foundation cannot perform those tasks for you. They do not do estate planning. They do not do asset protection as well. They do not do passing wealth down to the next generation. You know what I mean? So if you're getting yourself in an agreement to go and get on land and acquire land with a few saints who you can trust, y'all need to be in a trust. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to form a trust with them before the Most High Yah and sign an agreement with each other and understanding that this is what you're going to do. You get what I'm saying? This is what the trust is under Yah. And these are the guidelines of the trust. Our offspring, generations to come, as long as they are performing or walking the straight path, right? They keeping the way. They following Torah. They doing what they're supposed to do to keep the land. Your stipulations will be your stipulations. They can receive their inheritance, no matter how many beneficiaries you have. Now, each individual trustee will be in charge of uh, uh, contributing to the trust. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be in charge of contributing and making their charitable contributions to the trust, right? So it's going to be to the trust. The trust is what you're focused on, and the trust is your community. It is your family. That's what that is. Why do you think like a lot of wealthy individuals, you don't hear them speaking out against each other a lot? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them are in trust and they respect their inheritance. They don't want to disrupt their inheritance. So that's the reason why they don't say nothing. They don't say anything because the moment they say something, they'll lose all their inheritance. So doing it in a more righteous way, of course, is coming up with an agreement that is governed by Torah, governed by the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Yah, and it's able to be in trust. But of course, you got assets, you got, you know, of course, everything passing it down to generations. Your beneficiaries are the children, and the trustees are the adults who are signing up to help build up this land, right? And of course, whoever may be, if there is of course, appointed leader, that leader has stipulations and things that they would have to do, and they can't overstep their boundaries. They overstep their boundaries, they're going to lose their inheritance, not only for themselves but for their generations, right? And that's just one good way to have checks and balances. But that's just me thinking, you know what I'm saying? It's just me thinking, like, you get a situation like a Pastor Dow, you know you got this set up with a trust, and you have it outlined that if he were to stray away from what he's supposed to be doing as the leader, or as a person that's leading on the land, if he were to become a tyrant, then we have a stipulation that we can enforce, and if we have to use the unjust system to enforce it, there's an option for that. Now we have the ability to do so. You know what I mean? Let's see. So we got a question. So social security numbers involved in no, ma'am. There's no social security numbers involved in the trust, and definitely not for beneficiaries. Social security numbers definitely are not involved, but the beneficiaries can use the EIN for the trust as a way to navigate throughout life. Let's say they want to open up a business, they can use the trust EIN. if they want to gain assets like automobiles, if they want to get a cell phone bill, they want to get a credit card through the trust. They can do all of that using the trust EIN, and they don't have to worry about doing anything else, with their social. You get what I'm saying? So we want to keep that as private as possible. Or if you do not have a social security number for your child because you didn't go through the system, hallelujah. You know what I mean? You can be able to form this trust and then have them operate out of the trust, have them operate and gain assets out of the trust, have them build businesses, LLCs with the trust, because you can be able to open up LLCs and being able to convey that into your trust. So it's really flexible to where, like I said, if you got children who are not in the system, a trust can really help them navigate the world on a more entrepreneur stance, right? To where they can use the EIN to acquire assets, right? So that's a great way to do it. And that's a great question too. That was a really good question. Very good question. And so that's one of the biggest things, right? Is that a foundation is generally a legal entity with a charitable or the purposes is just for like charity, right? Mostly. It continues to also manage assets for specific purposes like supporting education, research, and social cases, right? So that right there is not going to help us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to help the foundation. It's not going to help us. You know what I mean? So what's the purpose of us having this if it's not going to benefit the people within the land? If it's not going to benefit us, what's the point? Whereas to where you have a trust that's going to, of course, give you some good estate plan and some asset protection, all that good stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So, I'm seeing this. Shalom, shalom. I'm seeing this and I'm seeing the foundation. And what is bringing me into seeing is that a foundation is more set up for people who are in it for themselves and not really in it for the generations to come. It's like, why are we having this set up through foundations if the foundations aren't going to execute for offspring, for future generations, so we can pass down our inheritance to the next generation? Why are we doing it? What's the purpose? To avoid a little bit of what, taxation? You can avoid taxation with trust and still have an inheritance for your future generations, for your beneficiaries. So a trust is definitely what it says here is not a legal entity itself, right? Because this is a private entity. This is a private entity. This is completely private between yourself, the trustees, and the Most High, and the beneficiaries. So this is a private agreement for between all of you guys to be able to execute, and then still avoid taxation, and then have government, third party entities out of your business. Whereas to where a foundation, they all up in your business. They listen, they want to know where every dime is going. You can't do much without donating to charitable events. The only perk that you get is you can be able to avoid taxes. You can avoid some taxation. And then also, of course, control. If you're really heavy on control and you're a founding member of the foundation, then you can have heavy control, meaning whoever else helps you build this thing up ain't gonna reap any benefits from it. They're not gonna get any inheritance from anything that you're doing. But through trust, they will. Through trust, what you put in is what you get out of it, right? No, is and then also what you put in based on your contract, based on what you guys want to do with each other. It could be different. It could be based on percentage. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if the person just showed up, they might get a percentage based on that. It just depends. And I feel like that would be a more fair shake than people showing up on the land, giving up their whole checks just to get booted off the land at some point, right? And then left with no inheritance, no nothing. They ain't got nothing to be able to do anything with. Okay. Okay, so some assets in foundation and some in trust. It all depends on how you want to do it. I mean, with the foundation is cool. Now it just depends on what you are trying to accomplish, to be honest, right? If you're trying to pass down and do generational wealth building, then you need to have everything in trust. if you're trying to um if you're trying to have these assets in the foundation so you can make charitable donations, right, to avoid certain taxation on it, then that's something that's different too. So you'll keep those assets in the foundation so you can be able to make your donations and things like that based on the performance of it, right, of the asset or whatever else you got. So yeah, so it allows it to own assets. Me personally, I'll put all my assets in a trust because there's just so many more benefits there. So many more benefits there than putting it in a foundation. And then you have stipulations in the foundations where the government is actually telling you what to do and telling you that they want to see what you're doing at all times. Like in a trust, they're not going to ask any questions. You don't really have to give them anything because unless you're going to go file your tax return, right? And most of the time you file it so you can be able to get your deductibles, but you're not filing it so you can pay money. You're avoiding taxation with a trust. But at that point, you're kind of reporting some of the things so you can be able to get your deductibles, right? You'll get a return at that point on your trust. But on a foundation level, man, listen, on a foundation level, there's just too much heavy stipulations, right? So this is a separate legal entity, typically set up for a corporation or an association. It has its own legal identity, allowing it to own assets, enter into contracts, and engage in what activities, right, independently or of the founders. So that's one thing that I would see, right, that it can be able to engage in activities independently from the founders would be something that I would be concerned about. Because what if these activities that they're doing is something that is not not legal? You know what I mean? What if it's something that's unlawful? What if it's something that may harm the foundation? Well, these people can be able to act and do these things without any checks and balances. Whereas where in a trust, if there's any big decisions made, then the board of trustees have to all agree, right? So they have to agree to all of that. Um, Otherwise, it's like you got other founders who go and act and open up a bank account. Maybe they cash a bad check. The check was $100,000, right? And now the foundation is in the hole, 100K. And now y'all all got to figure out something. You know what I mean? And people want to seize your assets through a foundation, and they can do it because it is a legal entity that they can bring and pull into court like that. You get what I'm saying? Whereas where a trust, it's a whole different set of laws, trust laws, and things like that that they would have to go through in order to actually deal with you in court. So it's like when I look at it and I see the pros and cons of it, right? Where the trust, a trust is not a legal entity. It's not a legal entity itself, but a relationship. It's a relationship between who? The settler, the trustee, what the beneficiaries. You see all that? This is a relationship. You know what I mean? This ain't nothing that listen, this is a relationship. This ain't no what legal entity. Like a foundation is a legal entity. We operate in business. This right here, a trust, is not a legal entity itself, but it is a relationship. Relationship, settler, trustee, beneficiaries. I prefer to form a beautiful bond or relationship before I form a business, right? Because business can be cutthroat. You know what I'm saying? So I'd much rather do that. But trust really helps with that, especially when it comes to like being sure that it's lined up biblically. Being sure that it's lined up biblically and you want to do things biblically. So it's like, but a foundation, you get all kinds of people involved that you just really don't want to have in your business like that. You don't want them to know that you're gaining all these assets and this currency that you moving is all going into the trust for future generations. You don't want them to know that. But in a foundation, they want to know all of that. They want to know how much you got. They want to know what you got. They want to know what type of assets there are. They want to know all of that, right? And then not only that, you don't have beneficiaries within the foundation. There's no real way you can be able to set it up to where your future generations are cared for. There's no real way you can do so, especially for people that's on the land helping you build it up, especially if they invested a lot. You know what I'm saying? They invested a lot, not only on land, but in any situation. You know what I'm saying? Helping you build this thing up, helping you take care of it, upkeep, things like that. Now, if you don't care about them, then I would think, hey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and form the foundation and I can be able to do and see fit what I feel like I want to do with it. Right. But if I'm forming a trust, now it is an agreement between not only before the Most High, but it's an agreement between my brothers, and my sisters, everybody else who's looking to come through and build. Now listen, I'm just coming to bring some information. I'm not coming to sell y'all nothing. You understand what I'm saying? After this, I'm not about to be like, hey, so I got this trust y'all can donate to. Bless y'all. Listen, hallelujah. I'm not about to do I'm not here to sell you nothing. I'm telling you, I'm just here to give you a little bit of information on the difference between a trust and a foundation, because it seems like that whole entire ministry is operating on foundations, right? Which is not a strong foundation, but and not on trust between individuals, right? Which, based on research, a trust is going to overpower a foundation 9 times out of 10. And then not only that, it's more biblically sound because we have inheritance we can pass down to future generations. And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's about generational wealth building, right? Yep, that's right. Bless you, bless you. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just sharing information. I'm just sharing information. I'm just sharing information right now. Uh, yeah, the financial freedom is the way to go, that you want to go. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to learn more about trust, I can give you this whole spreadsheet to where you guys can do a compare and contrast between a foundation and trust. Let's say that you are operating on a foundation and you want to operate differently. Let's say that you want to do generational wealth building instead of doing charitable donations, right? You just let me know, resources at worksheet.shop, and I will send you this whole spreadsheet. But this is not the information I'm solely focused on for today, but I'm sharing it with you guys because I want us to be able to be equipped and know, right? Because my whole situation with my ex-wife and of course finances and learning more about it, I kind of really did more of a deep dive right into the financial system. Learning more about quantitative easing, learning more about fractional reserve banking, our banking system, how it works, where money originated from, is some of the things that I really started to study pretty heavy. And this is one of them. Trust is one of them, because if you have a trustee who's arrested or in jail, him being a trustee within your trust will hold a lot of weight to be able to get him free. It'll hold a lot of weight. They get real nervous when trustees are involved in court cases, in court litigations. They'll be less likely to try to mess them over. They'll be less likely to try to do anything to make the wrong move. There's strength in unity, y'all. There's strength in unity. And so when we're moving in this world, right, in this wicked system, we gotta have unity. You know what I mean? So if we're not together and somebody get caught up in this wicked system, then they know that we have them a part of our trust. This is a trustee within our trust, and they would have to make some real decisions as to if they want to continue to keep them. Like if I were to show you guys my trust setup right now, my trust is set up. It's the Barak Beni Israel Bay Trust. I have a fee schedule within that trust. My fee schedule tells them how much they got to pay if they want to talk to me, if they want to detain me, if they want to do anything. They'll tell them how much they would have to pay to do so. Now, this same fee schedule, I actually typed up a invoice and sent it over to a prosecution office, in which they later brought it up in court to a judge and said that we got this a fee, we got a invoice for a substantial amount. I just want to be sure if we were to lose this case that we're not obligated to pay this. The judge was like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's between you and him. And for the prosecution to bring it up in court means that it held a lot of weight. It made them very nervous to see that big old bill. You feel what I'm saying? You got to deal with these people like professionally. You know what I mean? Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not. Need to decline. Words, absolutely. The words of our mouth. Hallelujah. Proverbs 4:5. Absolutely. So this will be a great thing to kind of be a good study, y'all. If y'all kind of like looking for a good, something that's going to help you set something up to where every party will be accounted for. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, man, I really want to do this, but it left a bad taste in my mouth doing straightway way. Like, dang, I really want to enter into this agreement with them and they're honorable people, but I want to be sure that we all have it to where our inheritance can be passed down to beneficiaries and things like that. Trust is a really good way to do it. If you're trying to protect your assets, trust is a great way to do it. If you want to move out of using your social security number so much, uh, trust in LLCs are a great way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like they just are. Those are great ways to be able to accomplish that. So it'd be a great read there. And just keep that mind. Trust. Definitely compare and contrast the difference between trust and foundation. And you'll know for sure what suits you. Honestly, I don't see why anybody would want to deal with a foundation unless they have a trust and they take that foundation and they were to convey it into their trust, which you can do. If you're looking to fund and make donations, with education or with religious sectors, and you want to be able to just funnel some money out real quick, form your foundation, place it into your trust, and you still got beneficiaries who are going to benefit from whatever the foundation is producing. You can still have it written within your agreement for your trust, that those assets that the foundation acquires can be beneficial to those beneficiaries. If it's just a foundation by itself, then you got one leg that you're standing on. But if you build it on top of a trust, then right there you have all the protection that you need. And then you have ways to be able to, avoid taxation if that's what your goal is. If it were me, right? If I were advising, I would say do it that way. I would say build your trust. First, anybody who I deal with, when it comes to these things, I first tell them to form two different trusts, irrevocable trust and a revocable trust. Those two trusts, I tell them to form, right? An irrevocable trust is a trust that is formed, and you can have your board of trustees, your board of beneficiaries, but they are locked in, meaning it's difficult to be able to interchange those trustees and beneficiaries. You'd have to go through a process in order to remove them, right? But that one you can keep very private for the people you really do trust, and they're not going nowhere. They're solid. They ain't going nowhere. Solid as a rock. You put them in your irrevocable trust, and that's concrete. A revocable trust is something you can be able to form, but you can also form it and be a beneficiary and a trustee within that trust. Now, an irrevocable trust, you can only choose one or the other, y'all. You can only be a trustee, or you can only be a beneficiary. You can't do both. But a revocable trust, you can be both. You can be a beneficiary or you can be a trustee. Not only that, you can take that revocable trust, the revocable living trust, and you can put that in the public. So meaning you can open up bank accounts, you can, acquire assets like homes, land, property, all of that, right? But that is the entity that moves in the public, meaning people can see it, people can look you up. You get what I'm saying? You might have a website. Their irrevocable trust stays private. So you can't look it up. They can't see it. None of that, right? You got both of those trusts working. Now, the revocable trust is going to be the trust that's going to acquire all your assets. So let's say you form a foundation, you're going to put that in your revocable trust. You're gonna convey it in there. Lands, you can convey it in your revocable trust. Any property that you want, convey it in revocable trust. Now, if there's other things that you want to keep extremely private, you can take those assets and put it in your irrevocable trust. And they won't be able to see those assets. They won't be able to see that you have it in that trust. And they won't be able to see the trust. So that avoids a lot of what? Litigations. People that want to try to sue the trust, want to take assets from you. And that's one of the biggest things is we want to protect ourselves as much as possible. You know what I mean? Like, we want to have as much protection as possible. But that's how I would do it. I'll set up with both of those trusts, and then if I wanted to form a foundation, I'll take that foundation, convey it in a trust, and then I have my stipulations for the foundation itself. Anything they were to earn, how we're going to divvy that out to the beneficiaries, because the beneficiaries are the true owners or have true ownership of any of the assets that you produce within the trust. And that helps out quite a bit, y'all. That helps out a lot, y'all. Like, for real. That right there will help you breathe easy at night. Even if you do like decide you want to contribute and jump in, get some land and do what you got to do, you'll be set up in a trust, and you'll know you'll have an agreement with people you can trust, right? Because that's what it's about. You have an agreement with people you can trust. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Like I said, I can send this out, and I can be able to send it to you guys and let you guys have it, check it out, things like that. But one thing that I really wanted to dive into, y'all, is this whole situation, right? Because we're really wanting to be sure that we're vigilant and that we're not dealing with nobody who's going to be a snake or be a wolf and just kind of prey on your kindness, prey on you wanting to have salvation and wanting to do what you got to do. But some of the things that we really have to start doing is enforcing it, y'all. We had to start enforcing it. We have to start doing what we're doing right now, which is standing up and speaking out and warning others who may be off on the same path, right? And it's one thing to warn them and talk about it, but also throw out all the problems, but never presenting any solutions, right? Because I know I've heard on the other side that solution based. Well, yeah, we got a solution. Now you need to really can think about what you're doing with your foundations, and you need to start trying to convey these things to trust and get those people on that land some assets. Get their beneficiaries in a trust. Get that foundation in a trust straightway. Get that foundation in a trust. Get it in a trust to where the families that have been working they ass off and slaving on that land for so long would have an opportunity for their generations to benefit off of their labor, because they've been on there working hard. They've been on there working extremely hard. Yeah, absolutely. So I really, it's just all about getting them what they deserve. If they locked into a land contract and they're sitting there giving all, they really need to have something secure to fall back on. Something that's going to be like, okay, I'm good. My future generations are going to be taken care of because we're all in the trust. And as long as we are doing what we got to do, everybody for each other, we're not going to lose our inheritance. We're not going to lose our assets. We're not going to lose any of those things because we're going to stay doing things by the book. So, but foundation ain't by the book. It ain't by the book at all. Now, one thing, let's see, let me share this other screen with y'all real quick. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys. I mean, to move forward, like I said, I got my here. Let me put my email down there. Shop. And if you need it, email me and I can email you the list so you can be able to have the information on hand. You can just read it and you can be able to know the difference between the two. Listen, and no, you ain't, it's free of charge, just so you guys can be able to be more familiar. especially when you say like, own nothing, control everything. Well, there's ways that, you can get wrapped up some things by doing that, especially if you're doing with other people and they don't have the best intentions for you, right? Now, but of course, operating through trust, we know that the most high, he's going to own it all, right? He's going to own everything you produce if you're doing it through trust and you got the right, you got it structured right, right? We're going to, you're doing it by Torah. So, so hopefully that helps a bit because, yeah, they are operating off of trust. And I think that personally, I don't think that this is effective enough. I don't think it's effective enough. Just based on studies and research, and also how many individuals are involved on the land and putting their hands to the plow. Like, come on now, you pimping out a lot of people to build up your foundation, yo. You pimping them out. That's what it is. You pimping them out. They hand servants and bond, bond maidens. Hopefully I said that right. But you pimping them out to build up this foundation. And if you were to just do a trust, they'll have an opportunity to get their inheritance. They have an opportunity to be a trustee and have their beneficiaries a part of their trust for that land that they're helping build up, that they're contributing to. I wouldn't contribute to nothing when it comes to land with nobody unless we form a trust and we're able to do so the right way. Like we form a trust and we got our outline properly, we good. You know what I'm saying? Now we can be able to move forward with an agreement, with an understanding. It's a little bit more comfortable. You can breathe a little easier. You know what I mean? But man, I appreciate y'all joining me here tonight. Honestly, I just thought like, man, this is a late night thing. I was like, let me jump on here real quick and keep on work because we're supposed to go live on Sundays, so I've been busy out all day. Right, right. Yep. Just ask questions. Yep. Saints must ask questions before giving up. Giving up their all. I don't want to just take your word. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah, they not trying to protect the saints. Yeah, absolutely. They trying to protect themselves. I mean, it's just apparent. It's very obvious because one thing I'm gonna tell you this. I brought this information to Kabir, and Kabir is the one they really heavily rely on and trust in with this. And like I said, like no, it's about sharing information with Israel so that way we can build effectively. What y'all think Steve Jobs and them out here doing, y'all? What do you think they out here doing? You think they out here just sitting on their hands? Do you think they out here just not sharing information with each other, having these sit downs and powwows about how to truly build generational wealth, like how to truly do it? Of course they're talking. Of course they're talking amongst themselves and they're sharing their information because they can. That's what they can do. That's what they got. Appreciate you. Bless you, brother. Bless you, brother McLean. Bless you, bro. Yes, sir. And that's the biggest things. They're gonna share it. They're sharing the information with each other and they building each other up while we're in the crabs in the bucket mentality, right? Like I gotta have it better than you. I gotta have it more than you. That's not what it is. Like we gotta have it together. And if we have it together, then we can build a strong nation. But if we steady trying to pick each other apart and tear each other down and I gotta have more, we ain't gonna build nothing, y'all. We ain't gonna build nothing. It's gonna continue to go the way it needs to go. And what does the Most High say? You know, we're destroyed for our lack of knowledge because we reject knowledge. Therefore, He shall reject you. Right. So, if I'm learning something, I freely receive this knowledge, right? And I'm giving it freely. And I'm just like, look, this is what would be best to do. Because me personally, I want an inheritance. If I'm investing a lot into something, I want to see the benefits of what my investment is. I want to see a return on investment. I want to know that I'm going to be working my fingers to the bone for my family, for my generations, not for yours and just for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just nobody wants to do that. That's why people getting out of 9 to 5s, y'all. because people don't want to continue to build up other people's corporations. You know what I'm saying? People want to build up their family houses as well. You know, people want to have that inheritance for themselves as well. So that's just kind of what it is, yo. You know, that's you gotta be able to say, hey, I'm comfortable and I can sleep easy. Now, foundation, no. Trust, yes, we got an inheritance we can leave behind for each household. Each household that is making contributions and putting into a pot, whatever they're putting in, that's going to be beneficial to their household. If you out here and you're doing what you got to do, then guess what? Your family's going to be, you're going to have a large inheritance. You're going to have a large inheritance. You know what I'm saying? If you out here and you're doing the minimum of what you need to do, then your family's going to have a minimum inheritance. It just is what it is. We're going to have it we're going to keep it P. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep it P. We're going to keep it very, very straightforward. Like, just do exactly what you feel you like to do. And then, you know, if you have children, then that trust is going to be able to operate for your children. You can be able to form different entities to be able to help them, like, navigate life. Like, they don't have to use their social. They wouldn't have to if they had one. If they don't have one, you can gift them an LLC. You can gift them a sole proprietorship. Well, LLC is mostly what I would give them, or an S corp or something like that that they can operate from. Yes, each man having dominion. Yes, absolutely. That's how it should be. Each man having dominion over their home. This will give them the opportunity to do so. This will give them the chance to be able to say, I can do that. Otherwise, you just ruling, right? You just a ruler. You just dictating everything for everybody. And that don't really work. You know what I mean? Because now I got to come to you if I want anything. Like, I got to come to you for everything, right? And then now at the end of the day, what am I have left? If you were to be gone and the land is sold off, I'm without anything. Like, I'm not even entitled to anything. That's the crazy part, y'all. The crazy part is that none of them are entitled to anything on that land, but they're on there working their ass off, yo. Can you believe it? Like, to have to suffer through tyranny, to have to suffer through somebody on a can't even have a private phone conversation on the land, don't have running water, don't have adequate living conditions. Like, I mean, I understand all is good if I'm being taken care of well, but if I'm like not even being able to flush a toilet, I mean, what's the point, yo? What's the point? What's the purpose? What am I getting? Yeah, what are you getting for your investment? That's right. Land block framing, right? Eating twice a day. That's crazy. Hey, you breaking it down though. I know when you put it like that, bro, like that right there makes a lot of sense. And it's like it hurts even more when you put it like that. When you put it like that, bro, it hurt. Like laying block, bro, you framing, you eating twice a day. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that's definitely what it is. But I'm going to get into this next thing here real quick. So yeah, just hit me up, let me know, and I'll send you over the details. I might even post it in the community side. You so you can probably snag it off the community side so you to understand the difference between the two and how I believe honestly, Straightway operates like Satanists. I'm gonna keep it 100%. I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I'm gonna do a whole rundown on this in the video as well as to why I'm saying this. But the reason why is that if we really sit here and we read and we think about this, the Most High gives us the the freedom of choice. Yah gives us the freedom of choice. We can choose whether we want to serve him and love him or not. You know what I'm saying? We have the freedom of choice. But when you go into straightway, you don't have the freedom of choice anymore. All that freedom is stripped away from you, right? Your choice you made, right? And they sold you some sort of bill of goods. Once you got there, right? They deceived you and had you believing it would be a way. But once you get there, It ain't that way. And then once you get there, you don't have a choice whether you can go and work in the garden, how long you can be able to work in a garden, whether you feel like you want to stop at around 9 p.m. That don't got nothing to do with you. You know, understand? They telling you when you can. They telling you when you need to wake up, telling you when you need to get to bed. And then to hear that the sister Tammy's working from what six, so she, they was it 7 a.m., 7 a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. It's crazy. Like, how many days a week? 6 days a week? I don't know. Listen, I don't know nobody who works that hard from sun up to sundown. Seriously, I see why she jumped. She when she took off. Like, come on now, ain't nobody trying to work that hard. Work up sun up to sundown, 6 days a week. Yes, yes, man. All right, community side is great. Print it off. That's what I'm talking about. Salary caps. Hey, yeah, no, you don't get none of that. You don't get none of that, y'all. Sun up to sundown, 6 days a week is crazy. I don't see how she did it for as long as she was doing it. I commend her for taking off because honestly, like that's ridiculous, yo. Like, ain't no way that you work somebody that hard, yo. Like this, it's not even. It's not right. It ain't right. It ain't right. You shouldn't be working people that hard. Like, you should, if you're on the land, of course, having the choice to be able to pick up a task, but also being able to, be done at a certain time. Like, if I want to get on the land and work, okay, I'm gonna be up by 8, and then I'm gonna do my task until 4. I should be able to have that freedom of choice. I should be able to choose that as long as we are functioning properly, right? And things are being done the way it needs to be done. We're going to have the time that we need to take the time out, right? Not only for our families, but for ourselves. Sometimes you got to have some you time with the Father. You know what I'm saying? You working sun up to sundown 6 days a week. How you going? When you gonna get to pray? When you gonna be able to get to kick it and chill with the Father, with the Most High, and talk to Him and pray, and you know what I mean. Wait for Him to answer your prayers. Wait for Him to answer your questions you've been having. Like, you gotta have some downtime to actually sit there and let Him answer your questions. You feel me? Like Yah is going to take His time sometimes. Like, sometimes you'll get the answer right away. Other times you might not get it for a week. You never know. You might not get it for a month. You know what I'm saying? And then He'll finally answer you. But if you don't have the time to sit back and just listen for them, right? Internalize a lot of your feelings and emotions, and then internalize some of your thoughts, and just listen to see if he peeks in and gives you a word real quick. If you don't got time to do none of that, then it's pointless to be on land. That's prison. Hey, hey, Sister Nadia, you right. Yep, facts. Yep, facts. But they will always tell you it's okay. Yep, your choice. It's not your choice. They do not give you a choice, yo. And that's what we learning. We learning more and more right now that they do not give you a choice. She got the answer. Leave. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Ashley, after your curfew, Ashley Bell said he hears about gold. Okay. Okay. They had that if they grab you. Yo. Walking in truth for 12 years. It's sick. Yes, it is. It's sick to hear all the BS with okay with Dow's camps. Yeah, it is actually a huge surprise. You know, it's a disappointment. Honestly, when I came back the second time, y'all, I was extremely disappointed because not only did everything pop off with Pastor Rufus, but like once I came back and dealing with the guys that was in Houston, uh, you know, uh, sometimes when you show up and you like the new guy or whatever, you just find ways to kind of to be a part of the crew, right? And you find ways to be able to see where you are a good fit, where you can be able to be a benefit and things like that. But coming into Houston and then finding ways that I can benefit for them, like things like this, right? Sharing information like about trust and the difference between foundation and trust. Um, that right there was what got the spotlight on me. It's because like, man, this dude know too much, or he's too like, I don't know. You know what I mean, brother? Me personally, I would see a guy like that and see the value in him and be like, man, hey, come on. Yeah, what's up? But I don't know. I think that's what really got that spotlight. And I was just like, oh man, next thing you know, is I don't know how to explain it. I just think different. I just think different. That's the only thing that I can say is that I think differently when I see people who are talented. You know what I'm saying? When I see people who are talented at things, man, I love it. It's a delight for me. Like I'm like, wow, it's a marvel. Yep, all of it because of one man's pride. Yeah, absolutely. All of it because of one man's pride, and it trickles down all the way down to the lowest level. Like it trickles all the way down because they see the haughtiness, they see the pride, and they feel like that's what they need to imitate or emulate in order to have some sort of position. You know what I'm saying? In order to be respected. You know what I mean? They feel like, okay, I see this, I want to be that. You know what I'm saying? And so they emulate it, they imitate it, and then the next thing you know, everybody's perpetuating the same thing. Yeah, yeah, you ain't lying. Yeah, that level of pride. Yeah, 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 yeah. That does. Yeah, you ain't lying. Listen, the the father scares me. I ain't gonna lie. The father scares me, and I know for sure. Yeah, that level of pride is crazy, y'all. That level of pride is crazy. But continue to try to send up some prayers for him. I got this right here. I want to share with you guys, right? And this right here is this is basically notes, right? But this is sort of how a petition would look, right? So let's say that it's the kingdom of Yah, typing up a petition, boom, we got what? Presumptuousness, false accusations, tyranny, right? Human trafficking, right? Human trafficking. Either way, yep, discord. Now, when I'm framing this, right, and I'm going through framing this and seeing a lot of different things that are coming up with Charles Dow Jr. These are the charges. These are the charges that will be levied against him, right? If I'm framing this, you know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, yep, yep. You're right. So those would be the charges right there. And my thing is this, right? Is that when I'm going through and I'm reading different things that that pertain to it, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna outline it exactly word for word, verbatim, exactly what will pertain to certain things and why. Why would it pertain to that? Why do I feel as though the love for another brother is a problem? Why would that be an issue? Presumptuousness. Why? I need to understand why am I outlining these things, right? So presumptuousness, right? The Bible provides clear guidance on how to treat your brother and how to identify a false brother. Now that's a big thing, right? That's huge. Identifying a false brother. Oh yeah, I've never heard him say it either. I don't think anybody else can say that as that they've heard him say it. Yeah, that he repented, that he was wrong for something and repent. That's a classic narcissistic type situation. But yeah, so identifying a false brother, right, in the faith, that's one huge thing. That's huge. That first line right there is crazy, right? Because how do you go to identify that? How do you go to, if you don't test and try the spirits to see if they're to see if they're of Yah, to see what's going on? If you don't test and try them, how do you know? How do you know who labors amongst you? How do you know? If you don't call them out on something and question them about certain things, how do you know? If you're afraid to do it, if you're afraid to question them, if you're afraid to call them out, how do you know who they truly are? They got to show themselves at some point. There's a prime example, when Pastor Rufus calls out Pastor Dow, and that whole situation ended the way that it did. It showed you exactly how you don't know if your brother's gonna be false or if he was genuine. You know what I'm saying? You don't know until you check, till you test it. Same thing when you do it, and then the people who are supposed to be having your back decide that they want to jump ship, and then they bail, and they backpedaling. Like Barry, like what? Like Deion Sanders, right? They get the backpedaling. Now all of a sudden they want to start apologizing, saying I'm sorry, right? It's the same thing. Like that, if you truly a brother and you supposed to be having my back through this thing, then we all the way to the wheels fall off. You feel what I'm saying? And if that takes everybody getting put out the ministry, it takes everybody getting put out the ministry. We all stood for something. I promise you, when I was wrongfully incarcerated, right? My biggest thing is that I wasn't going to allow these people to tell me that I did nothing wrong, because there was no way that I can be able to look my children in the face and say, hey, you need to stand for something and fall for nothing. And then here I am with my hypocrisy, and I didn't fight through something that I knew I was innocent of, right? And I had the knowledge to be able to get myself through it. Why would I be such a hypocrite to do that? Now I want to be able to look them in their face and tell them something because I did it already. I've already done it. That's the only way. That's the only way I would be able to do it. Stumbling like, man, you got yes, sir. All of that maliciousness. Yep. All of that. Yeah, adding that. I'm gonna have to add all that. Yeah, I know. It's so much more. It's so much more. Crimes against Israel. It's so much more that could be added to this right here. That's crimes against Israel that this man has perpetuated and protected. Right? It's crazy. Right? It's crazy. And it's like all you got to do is switch up your style of leadership, and repent, and then get others to follow suit. I doubt. Yep. 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 Lustful. All of that. It's crazy. So yeah, this is the King James we finna roll into. Your past roof is going in. Listen, all of that. Add all of that to the list, man. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yo, you're there before you left. Do you personally know people at the height of the fallout that said, "Hey, I don't think Rufus was wrong in the matter"? To be honest with you, people that I spoke to while I was there during Passover, it wasn't a whole lot of talk. It wasn't a whole lot of talk about it. The only person that was really doing a lot of talking was Vernon. I promise you. Vernon was doing a lot of talking about it. Who was joining him though? Was anybody joining him in that conversation? I'm gonna be honest. Nobody was joining him in those conversations. And there was some brothers that was around him from Georgia. Nobody was adding or ad libbing or contributing. Even if one thing that I can tell you is that when I discern people, I can discern them. And it was almost like, and at the time, I'm still learning both sides. So at the time, Pastor Rufus, of course, I still, bro, like what? I'm not about to turn my back on a man, and I've known him to be somebody who I've known him to be, right? Just because somebody else has an issue, like I'm just not that type of dude. Like if you got a problem with him, don't mean I got a problem with him. So I don't have an issue. I want to hear both sides. I'm learning both sides, and I'm hearing people out, but I'm hearing Vernon talk. I'm hearing him speak, and it's just like I don't know. It just gave me a bad vibe. Like discerning him and like it was just gave me a bad vibe. He was just too he was just too happy, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I think that's what it was. I thought he was just too happy. He was too happy with the situation. And the situation just it put me I was a little uneasy with the level of excitement that he had. He had a nice level of excitement. Yeah, bro was excited, bro. Bro was real excited. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been showing love. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. You know, but I he was just a little too excited. But I was just like, all right, well, but nobody was joining me in on it. Nobody was like, oh, Pastor Roof is this, Pastor Roof is that. We've been getting duped. They wasn't doing all of that. Only Vernon. Only Vernon was doing a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Of all the brothers who I spoke to. Even Emiliano. I was kicking it with him for a minute. He never even mentioned it. He never even talked about it, never brought it up. He was just going on about his day. It wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be trying my best, bro. I promise you. I just want to be sure that I'm listen. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I appreciate that. Yeah, shocked. Shocked about what though? Because me personally, yeah, if you saying like Vernon being happy and excited about this whole thing, being shocked, I can't say that I was shocked, but I can say that I was a little uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable with that whole thing because I feel like he should have been standing on business, and he been with you for a while. I ain't gonna lie. I felt like that was a little fake. Yeah, it was though. It was though. I mean, it always was kind of fishy to me because I spoke to Pastor Rufus after that. We had a long conversation, and he was just telling me about everything and kind of breaking some things down to me. And I was thinking in my mind, as much as we was talking about, I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, Pastor, because I of course I want to have a conversation, but I was thinking in my mind the whole time. To be honest with you, you don't even got to run through all of this, Pastor Rufus. I already know that you good. I already know you solid. So I'm thinking in my mind the whole time. But I've learned that sometimes you just got to be an ear. You know what I'm saying? Like you just got to be an ear. You can't be like a because men we like fix it. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you just gotta be an ear. You gotta just chill and listen and like just kick it and show support and show love and things like that. But the whole time I'm thinking like you don't even gotta run this down. You don't even gotta tell me about this. You ain't gotta tell me none of this. I already know what's up. I already know that there's no way. You feel me? Like man, listen. I'm gonna tell. Listen. This is what I'm. Listen. I'm gonna. So I'm gonna tell y'all one of these things, right? Pastor Rufus' story. All right. I'm gonna share this with y'all. I remember that there was a situation that was going on in Michigan. All right. And and I think it was a brother who was looking to go to like a Christmas party or something like that. And I'm adamant. I'm like, nah, bro, you can't do that. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You can't do none of that. No, no, no. That's not gonna be right. That's not good. And so, we were kind of deliberating it. The brothers, we were deliberating amongst each other for a while, just talking about it. My stance was, no, off top. And I'm like, let me hit up Pastor Rufus real quick. I mean, at the time he was elder. I hit him up on Marco Polo. I'm like, sent him this long ass hour long Marco Polo, right? And I sent him this long Marco Polo. It was an hour long, right? And then he came back. He was like, well, Ryan, you are one of the most long-winded brothers in the ministry. He's like, I got things I gotta do, bro. He got on me. You the most long-winded brother in the ministry. And I'm like, oh shoot, that had hit my heart. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, oh dang. But one thing that it did though, right? It taught me. It taught me this. It taught me to be more calculated with my speech. It taught me how to structure it and set up to where I can be able to execute it as quickly as possible. A lot of the testimonies that I did, they're pretty long, but I'm also telling like the meat and potatoes of things because I've trained myself to get to the points that I need to hit. You get what I'm saying? But Pastor Rufus, when you did that, I promise you, when you did that, I've carried that with me from that day moving forward. And I trained myself how to get to the point, and not give too long, drawn out, you know what I mean? Like, I trained myself to get to the point. And so, that's not the only time. That's not the only time he rebuked me, okay, and had me learning. You understand? So this is my relationship that I have. And honestly, he was one of the things. Pastor Rufus was one of the people who I was excited to see when coming back to the ministry. I was excited to see him because he's taught me a lot. You know what I mean? He's taught me like, listen, it ain't dishonorable to rebuke your mother. You know what I'm saying? He told me that too. It ain't dishonorable. Rebuke her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a few things like that's not the only story, y'all. I got multiple stories, and one of the yeah. I got multiple ones, y'all. I got multiple ones. And I'm like, yeah, the man just helped me grow. The man helped me grow. Yeah, all praises to y'all. Yeah, all praises to y'all. Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that, if I'm honest, if I can be very transparent, a lot of the stuff that we had conversation about, a lot of the things you rebuked me on, I carried that with me throughout my life. Like I carried it with me from that point moving forward, and it has benefited me in a lot of different ways. I can't say that I have the same relationship with too many other people. I just can't say that I do. One other story, right? I'm gonna be honest with you on this one, Pastor Rufus, because you don't even know. I didn't say nothing at this point, right? Hold on, let me get rid of this. There was one time, you remember, where I beat brother Mitch in basketball. I mean, I did him dirty. Like I schooled him hard. I schooled brother Mitch so hard. And we was balling. We was balling hard. Man, I came back in the dining hall that night. Man, Pastor Rufus was talking. He was talking heavy too. I mean, when Pastor Rufus talks some trash, listen, he talk. Okay. I mean, D1 basketball player, and me personally, I'm just a street baller, So I'm trying to hang with him. I'm trying to talk my trash, keep up, do what I can. And he like, bro, you keep talking, I'm gonna get out there on that court on you. Now, Pastor Rufus, listen, he didn't get out there on the court with just anybody. You had to have some skills, okay? You had to be skilled for him to even touch that ball and get on that court with you. And I'm like, this is my prime opportunity to get Pastor Rufus on the court with me. Little old me, you feel me? Street baller. All I got to do is say the right thing. You know what I mean? so I'm steady trying to get him in there, trying to get him, and he's like, you know what? I'll do you this. If you can beat one of these other brothers in this basketball, I'll get out there with you. I'm like, okay, bet. Who you want? Pick anybody. I don't care who it is. Choose them. Name them, and I got you. Pastor was like, okay, hey, McNabb. So he calls McNabb. He like, McNabb, you're going to play him in basketball. And you beat McNabb, I'll play you. Now, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not finna back down from no challenge. All right, this is a call to honor. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to answer that call. I'm not backing down. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. So I'm like, so the next day come, I wake up in the morning, I'm stiff. I'm locked up, yo, from playing Mitch, going hard on Mitch, right? I'm locked up. I'm stiff. I'm moving real slow. I'm doing one of these, right? Like trying to massage it out. Oh, you know what I mean? And I'm walking. I'm like, man, let me go give me some coffee real quick. Maybe stretch a little bit. I'm stiff as I don't know what. I'm walking to the dining hall to get me a cup of coffee, and then here's McNabb out there practicing. He like, hey, you ready, bro, Ryan? Shouting at me, you ready? I'm like, oh, dang. And me personally, I don't back down from a challenge, so that's my problem, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm stiff and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. So we get out there, we start hooping. McNabb destroys me, right? Destroys me. He absolutely destroys me. And I'm like, man, I only scored like a couple buckets to his like, I think we went to 15. Kills me, man. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, dang. But I'm sore. I'm like, okay, I'm sore. I'm sore. That's gonna be my excuse. When I see Pastor Rufus, I'm just gonna tell him, yeah, I was sore or whatever. So I'm coming down the hill. Pastor Rufus is walking up with Mother Jennifer, and I see him, and he's like, "Oh, so McNabb bust you, huh? He got you, huh?" And I looked at him. I'm like, I thought about using my excuse, and I'm like, nah, man, nah. Let me chill. Let me be humble. I'm humble myself. I'm like, I'm like, yes, sir. I'm like, yes, sir. Yeah, he got me. Yes, sir. Yep, he got me. Yeah, he got me. He got me. It is a big one. And a big one. I ain't never told Pastor Root I was sore as hell, and I could barely even move. And he was just busting my tail, man. He was busting my tail good. And when he was done, bro, he about dunked on me at the end of the game. All right. Last point. He about dunked on me, yo. And he got up and he looked at me while I was on the ground. Bro looked at me while I was on the ground. He's like, that's for talking to my elder like that. And I'm like, yo. Hey, man, listen. But I wasn't about to make no excuses, man. He got me. It is what it is, yo. Hallelujah. It was a good time, regardless. When we talk about the love that's at straightway, that's the type of things that's what it is. Those type of moments, you know what I mean, that you have that, you share with somebody and you're like, that's the love right there. You feel what I'm saying? That's the love. That's the thing. That's the thing that would be missing because it's all business now, right? Everybody all business now, right? Feel me? Like, why so serious, man? There's no balance. Why y'all so tight in the ass, man? Like, what's up with you? He knew who to pick. Yo, no. I might have stood a chance if I wasn't sore, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I took it. I went ahead and took it and kept it pushing. You know what I'm saying? I kept it pushing. Yeah, hey, that year. Oh yeah. Y'all did play. Yeah. It was a whole thing. So you beat him? I thought he beat you by like a point. I I, I might have forgot. I don't know if he, but yeah. You was giving it to him though. Y'all was hooping for a minute too. Y'all was hooping for a minute. I remember it was a whole thing on Marco Polo. It was like basically broadcasting it. It was like, listen, we basically was broadcasting that whole thing. Well, when we talk about the love, when we talk about the soul, there's a camaraderie, like that boosts morale. When you can have moments like that, and it's not so business, like yo, like it's just so tight. You get what I'm saying? That's what I mean by like the spiritual gap, the soul. You know what I mean? Like just the level of just love. Like honestly, it's just like cold. I mean, I don't even see Elder Becker. Elder Becker didn't come down into the dining hall much at all. Back then he was like there all the time. Like he would be kicking it for a minute. Oh, okay. Yeah. He got you in Wisconsin, Kabir's. I almost lost my leg. Hey man, boy, y'all both got them buckets though. Y'all both got them skills. I ain't gonna lie. Both of y'all is cold. You know what I'm saying? I'll just be happy to be on the court, on the floor, being able to lace up some shoes with y'all. I ain't gonna even lie. I'll just be content with that. Like, listen, I don't care if I score a bucket. Listen, we out we out here. I don't even care if I score a bucket. Yes, sir. Man, hey, Yes, sir. But that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm talking about. When it comes down to being back there, that's what was so disappointing, yo. Was that, like I said, it's like you just feel you feel the gap, you feel the loss of people who actually are taking the time out. You feel me, for one another, like for real, like really kicking it. You dig? Like it's just not the same. It's not the same because people are too tight in the ass and they too self-conscious, right? And they're too worried about people looking at them and their image, and the most high don't like that. I swear he hates that when you're so like worried about self-image that where when you walk around, you want people to see something that ain't real. It's a fasana. It's a facade. It's fake. Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why you walking around like this when you're normally like that? You know what I mean? Like, why not just walk around like that? You're like, why not just walk around the way you're supposed to? Like, just be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to be more than who you are, putting 20 on 10 because you want somebody to see you and think that you got this aura about you that you just gonna be the next warrior in Israel. The next warrior in Straightway. One got hurt in the first play in Wisconsin. So I allow him to win. Hey, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. Oh my gosh, I remember that. I remember that. It was somebody was trying to play something off. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, yeah, I'm just showing mercy to my brother. You know what I'm saying? Because he was hurt and he still was trying to hoop. He was still going hard. He still was trying to go hard. And you like, you know what? The young man gonna hurt himself. Let me give him this. Let me go ahead and let him win. I remember that. I remember that. Good times, yo. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what it was. Yep, yep, yep. And then he took that for real. He took it to heart, like he really won too. The love has left straightway, y'all. The love has left, y'all. That's the facts. Like, it just ain't there, yo. It ain't there. And it was disappointing. It was really, I ain't gonna lie, I was really disappointed in Vernon because I had a lot of respect for him. And that right there kind of made me look at him sideways, when I seen him talking like that. Yup, that's right. Yup, etc. Yup, the love was the love. Man, listen, you ain't telling no lies though. You know what I'm saying? That's just facts. It just is what it was. It's just a beautiful time. I mean, but you can only appreciate those moments, you know what I mean, and continue to carry those on. Like I said, everything that I've learned and when it came to rebuking, when it came to setting straight, I'm a type of guy who, if you got an issue, I need you to come and talk to me. I need you to holler at me. I need you to just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Put it bluntly, put it plainly if you want to. I'm not the type that's gonna be all butthurt about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna listen to what you got to say because I genuinely want to know. The reason why I want to know is because I want to be better. I want to be made, perfect. I want to be better. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just want to be better. Like, that's just kind of how I see it. Constructive criticism. I'll know when somebody is not genuine with their rebuke. I know when somebody is just trying to be harsh and trying to be disrespectful. I know that, and I know when somebody is really just trying to get through to me or tell me something. I can discern the two. But I'm just more of a straightforward kind of guy. Like, just be straightforward, come straight down the middle, and let's have that conversation. And we straight, and we'll be solid. So, but that's just one thing for sure. But I know my thing is that when we're dealing with each other as men and in Israel, one thing that I can really point out heavy is that uh is when the men are interacting with the women. Yep, love don't live there no more. That's right. When the men are interacting with the women, husbands and wives, right? And you see the example being set. One of the misconceptions on straightway that I will tell you right now that is a plague, and that's going to be even more reason why a lot of them are leaving, right? You got Sister Jordan who left, and you have Sister Tammy who just left as well. But the rhetoric and the conversation of women being wicked, 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 wicked. I mean, we can have that conversation, but also let's have a conversation about how to love them. So that way they're not gonna be wicked. Let's have conversations how to properly love your wife, right? How to properly love that woman. And then it's not a whole lot of conversations coming from Dow that teaches men how to properly love their woman properly. Like, do we know how to? That's what I'm wondering. Like, because I don't. How many of y'all heard a sermon about how to properly love their wife, and where we preaching a full sermon how to love? Because I'm gonna say this right in the book. One of our tasks as men is to love the woman, right? I mean, why would the Most High tell us to do it if He didn't know it would be a challenge for us? And then for them, it's submission. So if He knew that it might be a challenge for us to love and a challenge for them to submit, then why aren't we hearing more about love, like loving a woman, love your woman? You know what I mean? I ain't saying that we need to be having some soft men running around or nothing. I'm just saying, like, you know, as a young man who's looking for more guidance in that area, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know, like, how do you properly love her? Like, what's that love look like? You know what I mean? If she say something slick, how do you handle it? You know what I mean? If she what do you do? Like, if you guys have a conflict, what does that look like for you? If she's been hard taking care of the house, busting her tail, and you coming home from work, and she's tired and sleepy, and you come home and you want a foot rub, is love rubbing her feet instead? What's that look like? You feel me? Like you come home and be like, oh no, come rub my feet, make my plate. That's what it seems like in Straightway. That's just what it seems like. You hear what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like you're teaching the men to come home and say, hey, I don't care if you're tired or not, get over here, rub my feet, make my plate. And that's what you do to submit to me and do what I'm saying right now. You get what I mean? Like, right. I mean, I can tell you this much, right? Whenever Pastor Dow rebuked the brothers or the sisters, right, got on them, I can tell you this much: Pastor Rufus will come back and rebuke the brothers, and he'd be like, "Listen, y'all wicked. Y'all wicked as, and this the reason why they wicked is because y'all wicked as hell." And the balance was the balance, yo. The balance was the balance, and that's the biggest thing, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed it. I might have missed it, or I might have forgot if you spoke on it before, Pastor Rufus. I might have missed it, or I might have forgot. You know what I mean? But I know for a fact I remember, like, if Pastor Dow was rebuking the sisters, saying how wicked they were, Pastor Rufus would backdoor and rebuke the brothers and tell us that we wicked. That's the reason why they wicked. You know what I'm saying? The balance was the balance, yo. The balance was the balance. Now it's just all out of whack, yo. Like, it's just waiting. I once told that Michigan sister we need to do what the brothers are doing and love like that. Yeah, y'all be on a different level. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's difficult though with the ladies. It's difficult with the ladies. Like, y'all women, y'all take a lot of things personal. You know what I mean? Like, y'all just do. Like, a lot of y'all ladies take a lot of things personal, and it just kind of hit the soul a little bit, and then y'all kind of just hang carrying the fence. But men, like, we just kind of, it rolls off the back real quick. We do what we got to do to get. At least I thought so, right? At least I thought so. I thought that's how men handle things. But look at the example that's being set. You got Pastor Dow who's butthurt about being rebuked. And I shared the scripture with the brother who asked me about the rebuking. And I'm like, yo, like, yeah, Pastor Dow, yeah, Pastor Rufus, he had every right to rebuke him. Every right to go ahead and land into him real quick to get through to him and like try to get him to realize that what he was saying was so. But it shouldn't have been no, oh, I'm gonna kick you, oh, I'm gonna put you here and I'm gonna do this to you, and you gotta do this and that. Man, listen, taking a man's livelihood is akin to killing that man. You trying to murder him for what? Because he came and rebuked you and tried to get you to see something that you weren't seeing before. That makes no sense. One thing that I'll do, listen, we'll hit that back 40 before I treat you like you less than who you've been called to be. And that we'll hit the back 40 and we'll come on out. Whatever happens, happens. Hallelujah. You're still my brother. But you talk to me crazy, and I just want to get this off my chest real quick, and it'll help me with my deliverance. Whatever helps. I'm listen. Let's do it. Let's do whatever helps. Whatever happens, happens, and then we right back to being back to business as usual. You get what I'm saying? That's how men's supposed to handle things. It shouldn't go that far, right? But if it does go that far, then you should be willing to take it that far, but also be able to get right back to what you were doing before. It's like it's nothing's that serious. Yes, I told the elders and the brothers they the problem, not the women. Yeah. That's true. That's true. It was always us. Yeah, and we always had to hold ourselves accountable for what the women were doing because our leadership was the biggest deal. You know what I'm saying? Us being able to do what we needed to do. And that's an effective way to do it. You start with the head, and that way the whole body ain't sick. My wife typo. I'm married. That's right. LOL. I'll tell my something. I'll tell my wife something in love. I can see the feels immediately. Her feelings immediately. LOL. Oh yeah, yep. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy to hear that. Still blessed. All thou's evil worked out to my good. We've been blessed even the more so. Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hallelujah. I don't do well with a lot of sisters because my skin ain't that thin and I give out what I take. I liked it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, shoot. Honestly, it's like gauging a lot of these sisters, and a lot of them, some of them you can, you can have a little back and forth. Some of them got to get used to you. But what I see a lot of is that people get around each other and they don't think about, okay, this is a totally different person. This is a person with a different personality who have different things that they love to do. And I got to understand their sense of humor. I got to understand a lot more about them. So that leads you to have more patience with that person. You get what I'm saying? Like being more patient with that person just based on their differences is what a lot of people fail at, and seeing the individual as to maybe they don't mean no harm. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they just this is who they are and I got to learn who they are more. And they got to learn me more, and then we got to learn how to be around each other. Because some of the things that you might say is going to be funny as hell to this sister, but that sister going to take an offense, right? But like once this sister who took the offense start to learn your sense of humor more, and you start to learn how she doesn't like certain words more, then y'all gonna be able to click more because now you're using the right terms, or and she's understanding what you mean. She know that you don't mean no harm. You get what I'm saying? That's usually the biggest thing. Like and people just don't take the time out. At least saints, you're tasked to do these things, right? You are tasked to love on your brother and sister and be patient with them, be long suffering and all in charity and all of this, but you quickly forget about it. At least in straight way they do. They get about it real quick. They forget about it real quick. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things though. And even like I said, the men, right. Right, right. Yeah, even like the men are taking on those female characteristics in straight way, right? I'm gonna say in straight way because this is where I'm experiencing it. And this is like one of the biggest things that disappointed me as well, is because I'm thinking these men are different. And that's not all of them, okay? The ones that I've interacted with are morely taking on now these more feminine type of traits, as to where now we're getting more offenses. We're getting offended more. Now we're taking things and think that a brother is showing discord, but really this brother is just cracking a joke. You get what I'm saying? Like for real. I remember when I was out there shooting with the guy Christian and the guy Micah. I was just, working on a couple things with my gimbal, getting ready for the next shot. And I walked up to the table while they were downrange. Now we all yell downrange, right? So firearms are down. I'm not holding a firearm, nothing, right? Everything's solid. My thing is Ahab. That's right. That's right. Ahab is going crazy right now. He is, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's trickling on down. I'm trying to tell you, it's from the top down. It's getting worse. But I'm walking up to the table. The rifle's inside that sled and strapped down. I'm walking up to the table. He turned around like, "Oh yeah, no, don't go near the table." Like, just kind of just told me not to go near the table. I'm like, I cracked a joke. I'm like, "Wow, y'all scared or something? Y'all think I'm, shoot?" I don't know what joke I cracked, but I cracked a joke, and they literally took that offensively. They literally took it serious. Like they took it to heart. They like, yeah. What did he tell me? He said, "We knew that you were a prideful person because he told you not to do this at the table, and you proceeded to say whatever." And I'm like, "Bro, it was a joke." It's meant for you to laugh. You know what I mean? It's meant for you to, laugh or not take me serious. But at the end of the day, I still did what you asked me to do, right? I stepped back. You know what I mean? Like, what's up? So yeah, it's like little stuff like that will make somebody carry an offense that balloons up to where it's like now you got problems with this brother. Now it's like they're trying to say you are showing a discord when really it's like they're misunderstanding who you are. Hopefully that helps. They really misunderstanding who you are as a person. And sometimes they're not taking the time out to get to know you as a person at the same time. Like it might be a lack of care, might not, or something. You get what I'm saying? Might not care enough. And yeah, Ahab, yeah, the spirit of Ahab is ruling right now in straight way. I don't know what happened. It wasn't always like that, yo. It wasn't always like that. It was like, you know, but also at the same time, starting to learn now that the same brothers who I was with in Michigan at the whole time the whole time may have had an offense. That may have had an offense that they never brought, that they never spoke to me about. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, how do we do this? Because me personally, if I got an offense, I'm gonna come holler at you. We gonna have a conversation, in which I've done multiple times with them brothers and with plenty of brothers. Like we gonna talk. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not about to be carrying this around, and I'm not about to have these issues with you. What we gonna do is we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see what's going on, hatch it out, and we're gonna move on. And that's all we're gonna do. Me personally, I thought it was a beautiful time in Michigan, fellowshipping with those brothers, and I thought, contributing and doing the things that we were doing, it was fulfilling to me. You know what I mean? Like it was fulfilling to me, and it was something that was worthwhile. You know what I mean? It was worthwhile. And understanding that it just made me want more passionate about it. You know. It's like you miss the times where men are going to be men regardless, and they're going to holler. They're going to talk to you. They're not going to harbor it and fester it in their heart, and they're going to want to honor you. They're going to want to show you respect. They want to make sure that loyalty, you know what I mean? All of that is a huge thing for somebody who are men, who are going to cherish those things, as well as women. Women can also, same thing with them, loyalty, respecting, they man or their brother, whoever it is. You get what I'm saying? So, um, growing up, I did a lot of things. Of course, growing up, I had a stepfather. His name was Kevin Thomas. And, I learned a lot from that man on a lot of different levels, right? When it came to respect, when it came to, a man's role, you know what I'm saying? Like, he taught me quite a bit, and also improving. It's like I got a lot of different talents that the Most High has blessed me with, because I've learned that perseverance. And one of the things that I can really remember about Kevin, who's my stepfather, um, is that I remember I picked up the saxophone and I wanted to learn to play the saxophone. Now, I've never played it before, and I took it home, right? And I'm going to play this saxophone real quick. And then the first time I busted out, they told me to go outside because it would be too loud in the house. So I'll go outside on the porch, on the back porch. And I bust out the saxophone real quick. I mean, I'm sounding terrible, y'all. I'm sounding horrible, right? I'm playing this thing, and they like, dang, like it sounded like a dead cat, all kinds of junk, right? It sounds bad. Now, I don't know how to read notes or music notes or whatever. I don't know how to do any of that and play with music notes or nothing. Um, but I remember I just kept trying and kept trying, kept trying, and eventually, within a matter of a week or two, I started to sound really good. And I didn't know this at the time, right? I had no clue I was sounding great. You know what I'm saying? I was just playing with the keys. I was just playing with it, and just doing different sounds and flowing in different ways. And what I would think about is how, my stepfather Kevin and my mother would listen to R&B music, and the instrumentals and things like that, that I would think about those things as I'll play, and I'll try to mimic those sounds with it. And come to find out that Kevin would be upstairs by the window. This is how good I got, right? He'll be upstairs by the window just listening to me play. I'll be playing for a few hours. He'd be out there, he'd just be sitting there listening. I was just like, wow. And then that kind of taught me something about perseverance, right? And that, even though I started off really bad, I ended up continuing to play and play and play until I got really good. And to a point as to where a man who I admired and respected growing up was also admiring my talent, right? That I just kind of developed through perseverance. You know what I mean? Like, and that taught me a lot when it came to doing things, right? It's just really difficult to get me to give up. you know, like getting me to give up on something it'd be easier to pull a donkey across a road than to get me to give up on something. Okay. Like, so it taught me a lot, yo. It taught me a lot about perseverance. And I'll never forget it, right? Because Kevin, he was the first man that I ever or received any level of respect from. The first man who's ever given me a sign of respect and honor, right? And it carried me throughout my life because I've always wanted to receive that same thing from other men. So it taught me what to look for. But, I'll never forget it. I was, I believe I was around 8. I was like 8 or something like that, 7 or 8. And we had like this field day situation going on. And it was coming up. Y'all remember the field days back then. You just go out there, playground, whatever, had a little games and all that. Well, it was coming up, and all my friends was gonna be wearing a hat or whatever. They was saying they got a hat or whatever like that, and I wanted a hat. And I'm like, yo, hey mom. So I asked my mother, can I get a hat? I would love to get a hat. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna get you a hat, but you can ask Kevin. You ask Kevin to see if he can borrow one of his hats. And at the time, Kevin had hats. I mean, they were stacked to the ceiling in the closet. I mean, he had rows and rows and rows of hats. I mean, hundreds of them. Okay. tons of hats, right? Of course, he only got one little box head. Of course, you're not gonna wear all those hats. Of course, you can give me one of your hats to wear for the field day, okay? And so him and I, we had a great relationship, right? Because I was just a real chill child. Like I didn't give cause no problems. You can ask my mother if she's still here. You can ask her. I didn't cause much problems at all. Like I can one hand how many times I had to get like a spanking or whatever. So I was fairly easygoing child, and he really liked that about me. My other two siblings though, I can't say the same for them. Okay, but I go to him and I ask him for a hat. I'm like, hey, can I wear one of your hats for field day? And he's like, no. And I'm devastated about this no, because all my friends said they're gonna be wearing the hats. I want a hat. I'm like, dang. I'm like, all right. So I thought about it. I'm like, man, it was the morning for field day or whatever. And I'm like, man, I'm finna get me a hat. By the time I wake up, he's gonna be gone for work. So I can probably tiptoe in there and grab me a hat real quick, right? And I was like, yeah, 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 that's what I'm gonna do. So I executed the plan. He went and left for work. I tiptoed on in there, grabbed me a hat, and I was looking at the hats. I'm like, man, which one I want to pick? I picked this one hat, right? It had a blue brim. It was all white, right? And it had two signatures on it. It was a Houston Texans hat when the Houston Texans first established their team, and it had two signatures from some of their star wide receivers, a couple signatures. Now I picked quite the hat, didn't I? I picked quite the hat. Like if I was gonna pick a hat, that was the worst hat to ever pick. Right? One that's autographed by two wide receivers, and it was the game for the Texans opener, right? They opened up. It was their first game. He was there. He got autograph hat. I picked that hat to wear the field day. So I hit field day with the hat. Boom boom, and had a good time. Whatever. By the time I'm done with field day, I took a look at the hat and I looked all around it. It had like a little chili stain at the top of it. I looked at the brim on the inside of it. The brim was all dirty and just brown. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can be able to put this hat back without him actually knowing anything. So I'm like, okay, I can't put this hat back. So I go ahead and I make it back home. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to figure out what to do with this thing. So I took it and I took it. And I used to have this big old green trunk that I put all my little knickknacks and everything that I love to have. I put it in the trunk. And it was a key to the trunk as well. So I can lock it and go in there as my little secret green trunk, right? Big green trunk is mine. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this hat and I'm gonna stuff it down in the green trunk. I took the hat and I stuffed it way down in the green trunk and I closed it and I locked it. I'm like, okay, he'll never find it. He'll never find out that it's gone. He came home and immediately realized that the hat was missing. Immediately. It didn't even take long. And he's yelling at the top of his lungs, like, what my hat? He's asking my mother, what's going on with the hat? Da 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 da. He's livid, y'all. Absolutely livid. All right. And he didn't like my sister. He didn't like my brother. They both gave him problems all the time. So he's like, it's their fault. He blames my brother because he really didn't like my brother. He blames him. He's like, yeah, he took my hat. I know he took it. He's like, no, I didn't take it. I didn't take it. And here I am. I'm just like quiet as a church mouse. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just looking. You know what I'm saying? Hat way at the bottom of the trunk. I'm just looking. And so finally things cool down and a week passes and I'm just this hat is just eating away at me, man. This hat, I'm just like feeling terrible that I took this hat and I wasn't honest about it and uh, it was all jacked up and I'm feeling terrible inside. I'm like, man, a week went by. By this time, the trunk is talking to me. All right. The green trunk is literally talking to me, just telling me all the terrible things that I did with this hat. It's just literally talking to me. And I'm just like, I could not take it. It was just, I'm like, you know what? I gotta come clean. I gotta tell him that I took this hat. So finally, I went ahead and unlocked that green trunk. I grabbed that hat out of there and I went in and I was like, look, I'm just going to get this out the way. And whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. So I took there every step that I was taking. My heart was thumping. Doom, doom, doom. I'm like getting more scared as I get closer and closer to this door. About ready to open it up to his room real quick. I mean, I'm just like, man, I'm finna get my toe up. You understand? Because like it's been how long? And I walk up to him, man. I got my head hanging real low. I'm like, I'm got my head hanging low. I walk up to him like here, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I took your hat, and I'm sorry. And I'm ready. I'm just braced for a good little whack, little butt whooping. All right, I'm braced. And he took a look at the hat. I'll never forget it. He was like, "It's all right. Come on." He gave me a big old hug. He's like, "It's all right. It's all right. I understand. Yeah, it's good. Don't worry about it. It's all right. I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you for letting me know that you took it. I appreciate it." And I'm like, "That's it?" Like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm looking. I'm like, and I walk away, and I'm like, "Damn, I thought that was going to turn out a little bit worse than what it did." But come to find out, I talked to my mother, and she's like, "Well, yeah, he really respected that you came clean about the hat and you told him the truth, and you finally came in. You apologized to him." I think I was crying tears too at the same time. I was a child or whatever. And then I just started to really realize that the level of how important it is to be honest, how important it is to have some integrity, how important it is to not take things that's not yours. You know what I'm saying? Like just that really taught me that those things are extremely important. And you'll have more success when you're honest about it than if you're dishonest. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if he would have cut up on me, I don't know how that would have ended for me, right? But he didn't. So that really showed me that being more honest, being having more integrity, that's the way, that's the key. Um, um, and that's what you should be doing. Yeah. Learn the lesson. That's right. That's the way to go. You learn that lesson and you carry that with you. And it's all about learning. If you're not learning and growing, then you're dying, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of what it was. Like I think the Most High put men in your life to teach you as much as you can because he's training you to do something that only he can get you to do. Like when you're going through trials and tribulations in life, he's bringing you through those things because he knows that you're equipped to handle them. And once you get through with them, he's got this other task that he knows that he's just prepared you for. He trained you for it specifically, tailor made you for this thing he needs you to accomplish. And the only way you can be able to dishonor him and disrespect him is if you do not accomplish it for him. Like you got to go and accomplish it for him. He didn't train you and take you through all of this for nothing. You got to go and accomplish it. Oh, bless you. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those ones as well. Like I hang on to a lot of these moments because um like I said, I did have my stepfather and things like that, but I hang on to a lot of these moments. I believe they're like character building moments, right? That will establish you as a person, as a man, like establish you and get you to be able to uh develop more. And I see that as love. That's labor of love right there. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody does that for you, they've poured into you, they've loved you. You know what I'm saying? And they've taught you something that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. Not only that, you can pass that down to next generations. And this is what this is all about. That's why I'm telling my stories with, my stepfather, and I'm telling the stories about times rebuke with Pastor Rufus, because these things help shape and develop men. You know what I mean? It helps shape and develop men to be better men. And then that way they can pass that down to the young man, the young men that are coming up. You know what I mean? So they can be even better men. And that's the only thing that I would ever pray about for my son and for my children to be twice the my son to be twice the man that I am. You know what I'm saying? I want to be proud of him. You know what I mean? I want to be like, man, I'm you know what I mean? That's the only thing that I care about is that I look at my son and man, this is a way better man than me. You know what I mean? Like he's way better than me, like I could ever be. And I think that's what it's all about. But when you're walking in pride, right, and you're walking in haughtiness, and you're walking in all of this, oh, I got my own, and you can't take the time out to appreciate the lessons that you're being taught, then we can never get the next generation to progress. We can never do it. We gotta stop and appreciate the times where we have the hoary-headed men or men who are older to stop us and check us about something, or stop us and get us on track with something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that way we can be able to carry that with us and improve and pass it down to our next generation, because this is what it's all about. The ones that's coming up after us, they're going to shape the future. They're going to shape this world for us. You know what I'm saying? And whatever we've taught them, that's what the reality is going to be for us. If we didn't teach them anything, we're going to have nothing. But if we poured heavy into them, we're going to have an abundance more than what we can handle, you know? And it's just it's so important. It is so important. So bless you, Pastor Rufus, man, for all those times, man. Like, I remember I came on hell. This is my last story, and we gonna close it out because I know it's getting late. But Pastor Rufus, my knucklehead self, right? I get on there, everybody's saying something on Marco Polo. And they'll start off with honors to the pastors and the elders and the teachers and the deacons and heads of assembly, and they'll just be running down the whole list. And I am, I get on there, I'm like, man, y'all talking about all of this. I'm like, why man, we running down the whole list. It takes forever to get what we need to say, man, running down the whole list. And I'll never forget, Pastor Rufus came on there, he's like, bro, Ryan, you disrespectful. He started laying into my ass like, bro, Ryan, it's called showing honor. It's called showing honor, bro, Ryan. He wasn't having it, right? Because honestly, me coming on there and doing that is setting the example for the rest of the brothers on that app to say that, hey, we don't have to honor these men. And so he had to lay it into me. He had to let me have it. You know what I'm saying? I got off of there. I was repenting. And I remember from that point moving forward, that's all I said. I came on there and was giving honor, showing honor every time, just because of the simple fact that I knew, okay, yeah, that was absolutely wrong. No matter if I thought it was a joke or not. You know what I mean? That's something that you shouldn't be doing. You should definitely always show honor. And don't, if you gonna say it, don't say it. Don't say it at all. If you can think, if you're internalizing and think it, if you say it out in the open, you're influencing a crowd of men. And it ain't no telling what that seed plants in the next person. But it was such a thing for me that the Holy Spirit told me to go and to read First and Second Peter, and to keep reading First and Second Peter until I understand what it's saying. I must have read First and Second Peter like 50 times, y'all, before I really grasped the understanding of what it was the message it was trying to get me, right? But it was teaching me how to love my brother. It was teaching me how to honor the elders, how to, respect. It was teaching me everything I needed to know about what I needed to know with elders, brothers, my sisters. You know what I'm saying? It spoke prophetically, the things to come, how to deal with people, what to watch out and look out for. But the biggest thing is that during that time, I need to understand how to love and how to respect my elders, brothers, all of that, what that meant. First and Second Peter was laying that out for me, right? Short books, but they got a lot of great information. Brother Peter laid it out there. You know what I'm saying? So I found it very interesting that situation took place, and then First and Second Peter is what popped up, because exactly what that situation was. That's the word that I needed at that time. That's the word that I needed. I needed First and Second Peter. I needed to have that in my heart. That way, I don't make comments like that anymore. But that's how we love on each other, right? When we reprove each other, rebuke each other, correct each other, That's when we're loving on each other. That's when we're able to grow. That's when we're able to make improvements in ourselves. Um, and but if nobody does that for you, you continue to walk in a transgression that you never even knew you had. You continue to offend people, and you don't even know that that's what you're doing to offend. Like, this is just who I am as a person. You get what I'm saying? But if ain't nobody openly loving on you, I'm telling you, hey, that's, you don't need to be doing that. Then you're continuously walking in that same transgression, whether it be causing an offense, or you just walking in iniquity, you know. But as believers, we're tasked to show each other that. But those are just some solid, man. This is the reason why we need our older men, our hoary headed men, our in our households, teaching. This is the reason why we need them. We need them for the future generations. And society has taught men not to respect older men, call them old fools or whatever. And it's the biggest mistake for our culture, because we see what it's getting us. It's perpetuating what? Even more nonsense, even more foolishness, no progression. And it's all because the older men aren't getting the respect that's due. And since they're not getting that respect that's due, they're not coming out and teaching these young bucks. We need those older men. We need them. We need them strong, and we need them capable, But I appreciate y'all hanging with me, man, on a Saturday night, Sunday night, my bad, first day night. And y'all got any questions or anything before I close this thing out? I appreciate y'all, hanging out, like, for real. I think this is, something that I really wanted to do. The next time I'll have more of a structure as to what I want to bring. But today I just wanted to hang out with y'all, kick it in fellowship, and talk about some times, and talk about, some things, share information, and all of that. Proverbs 15:1, KJV. Let's see, pop it up there. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but his words stir up anger. Grievous words stir up anger. Yeah, okay, absolutely. Okay, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. that is definitely. Let me see. What if I how I do Proverbs 15:1. That's something that I definitely need to. So I really enjoy that scripture right there. I'm finna write that down, actually, to make sure that I can let that go ahead and be a part of my everyday spirit. That's, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna keep it real. I can say some grievous things sometimes. And sometimes I don't realize it. I don't realize that I'm saying it. And so you just gotta tell me, like, cause I'm just that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Salute, bro. Salute to you, brother. I'm just that type of guy. Like, sometimes I'll say something and you're like, man, why he say that? And then I'll think to myself sometimes, like, dang, why I say that? I probably shouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I'll check myself, but sometimes I don't even see it. But if I'm like putting this in my spirit and making sure that this is Proverbs 15:1 is something that I believe that that's gonna help me a lot moving forward. I promise you. I promise you. Proverbs 15:1. Because I evaluate myself all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I look at me a lot, and I want to be sure the mirror's on me, and I check myself first, and I constantly want to improve. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about me that I want to improve in. I want to get better at being sure that I am not saying things that are grievous. I want to be sure that I'm checking myself with that and make sure that that's not a thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Um, but bless y'all. Bless y'all. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys got something from this. I hope you guys enjoyed the fellowship. I really enjoyed the fellowship tonight, y'all. And I know it's getting late. And I really appreciate you guys rocking with me. But this is Barack, your host, War Sheep Podcast. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful night. All right. Prayerfully. I'm gonna go ahead and pray this thing out real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and keep it and get some sleep, y'all. You know, Father, our Father, thank you, Father, for this wonderful night. Thank you for the fellowship that we just had and the times we can be able to tell stories about some of the old times that we've had and have some good laughs and share information with each other to build and grow Israel, Father. I know that it's your will for us to all be together, Father, and love on each other the right way, the way that you prescribe, Father, the way that you know how we should, Father. And I ask for you to bless every individual that has stopped by and hung out and did some fellowshipping today, and as well as other individuals who have not had the opportunities as well. You know their heart. Bless them, Father. Loose ministering angels to everyone right now of peace, of love, of joy, of unity right now. And I ask you to loose warring angels to destroy any demonic strongholds right now. And to destroy any demonic anything that wishes to disrupt their path, disrupt their purpose, disrupt their future, disrupt anything in their life and cause chaos. I ask you to loose a legion of angels to destroy all of those demonic forces right now. And I ask you to allow them to be strengthened, and that you allow us to be able to be immersed in you, Father, immersed in your glory, Father. That way you can be able to tell us how to walk, and that we will not take a step without consulting with you, Father, and understand that every step we take is because that's your will. That's because you willed us to take that step. Father, I ask you to pour out your blessings and your gifts onto everyone, Father. I ask you to encamp about everyone's house right now and protect them as they sleep, as they slumber, that anybody who wishes to pray any curses on them, that those curses will be vanquished, will be destroyed and scattered 100,000 miles apart, that they may not be able to find themselves, Father, and that they will not be able to inhabit or harm anyone, Father. I ask you to give peace at night, to give tranquility, to give well rest, so that we're ready to get up and tear down Satan's kingdom tomorrow morning. And I ask you to do all of this in the name of our soon coming King, Jesus the Messiah. Hallelujah. Bless y'all. Bless y'all. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Absolutely. Yes, me too. I got you. Galatians 5:22-23. Fruits of the Spirit. Hallelujah. Okay. Yeah, of course. Galatians 5:22-23. Fruits of the Spirit. Peace, long suffering. Yep. Gentleness. Yep. Goodness, faith, meekness. Absolutely. Man, I'm loving this. But peace and love, y'all. Peace and love. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys fellowshipping with me. Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now. Peace and love. Bless y'all. This is Worship and we out. All right, y'all. Peace.